Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. This series, I am once again joined by my wonderful co-host, Matt. Darn. Kitty?
Dorkus and I are sharing our experience reading Warbreaker for the first time. Each episode will summarize what we read while discussing the experience along the way.
This is Warbreaker Breakdown, and today we are discussing chapters 28 through 32.
28 through 32. Break it down.
You'll hear it when the Hero of Ages episode airs, but Kita and I are returning from a roughly 3.5 week break.
Mm-hmm.
So we've sat, or at least I sat with this chunk for a chunk of time.
I did not. I had to catch up, guys. I was busy. Thank you for waiting.
Of course. I guess then that this will be more current for you than it will be for me. I'm a little more removed from it.
We'll see. I think on balance, we'll fill in for each other.
Yeah. Chapter 28.
Mm-hmm.
Vivenna is gaining more notoriety. The meeting with the Idrians has been set, so they're committed to this course of action, yeah?
Yeah. She's going to rile up some Idrians.
Yep. And she's drinking this juice, this sweet Idrian juice.
Oh no, and she shouldn't.
Sheesh.
Oh, it's dangerous. It's too much. It's of the flesh.
Right? There's... Because the juice thing is like a big point in this chapter for her adapting to Hallandrin ways, and I'm just reading that and I'm thinking, lady, it's juice. Like, you're allowed to drink a drink that you like. You're not disturbing Oster's beauty. Are Idrians not vegetarians because they can't pick vegetables because Oster placed it there?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what? How can you live? You know what? You living? That's pretty presumptuous. That's pretty selfish of you. So, sorry, you can't have anything.
Right? God forbid you, enjoy the local food.
Or steer for a bit.
Yes. Tame is more or less trustworthy, though Vivenna feels he is exploiting his own people by facilitating criminal activity.
Oh, he must be exploiting them as well. Like, it's not that they also want to be part of his criminal stuff. It's like, no, he's only be exploiting them. I think everyone's exploiting each other in these situations, as we'll find out in later chapters.
Yes. And it sounds like there's going to be at least 100 people at the meeting, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good number. It's not too... Look, it's going to bring notice, 100 people.
Yeah. Well, because remind me, because in the actual meeting, she's basically only talking to 3 people, right?
They're 3 representatives of those people.
Right, but I don't remember 100 people in the room.
No, she did initially speak to a crowd of people, and then afterwards she goes into another place and speaks to 3 people.
Yeah, but I didn't get the impression that crowd was a crowd of 100 just there to see her.
Yeah,
I mean, they were there to see... I think
it's less.
Yeah. I didn't get the sense that was the meeting that was being set up.
No, the meeting was for those leaders of the underground, the Idris underground. But yeah, the other 100 people, it's like people that want to hear what she has to say, supposedly.
Right.
Yeah, and we'll get to what happens in that chapter.
Right. So Vivenna finds it strange that these men are powerful among the oppressed and that their power requires that oppression. So the line itself is, these men had stature among an oppressed minority, and without the oppression, they would be powerless. Yeah.
Very astute. I like the way she explains that. That is common. That is absolutely the dynamic that happens in cultures with humans, is that people benefit off of the oppression of others, and there might be just other people that are of the same group. They're not actual others. yeah, the exploitation is exploitation is exploitation.
Right. And it's not even just limited to like minority groups. It's like, what is a nonprofit designed to combat global warming going to do once global warming is solved? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Dissolve. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to go, we're done here. No, it's going to find the next crisis as well. Or it's just going to continue with the current crisis.
Right.
So either it's gonna stop itself from solving the crisis, or it's gonna find another one, create another one.
Right. So then I guess if you're going to render judgment upon individuals, you have to judge whether or not a person is earnestly trying to make a difference or is LARPing for the profitability of the cause.
Yeah. And that's not an easy thing to distinguish.
Right. If the arguments are strong and the cause is just, in theory, that is what should matter more than the messenger.
I suppose, yeah, okay, we're getting the good thing out, so I guess you're okay with grifters. As long as we'll be okay with grifters as long as they're on our side, I suppose.
Yeah.
But grifters are dangerous because they can change their tune.
Right.
As we discuss with mercenaries.
Yeah. And then can potentially make things worse. And I guess that's kind of the problem with adopting a cause as your core identity.
Mm.
Yeah?
Yeah, you lose it. Yes, you lose it. If your cause is solved or no longer relevant, you become irrelevant. If your identity is based in that.
Right.
If the only thing good about you is the fight that you're in politically, then there's not much else you're going to have in your life. You're going to keep fighting. You're going to keep the fight going.
Yeah. And then everyone just thinks you're cringe and wants you to go away. So Tame estimates there are about 10,000 Idrians in the city. Yeah?
And that is surprising or saddening to Vivenna.
Yes. And Tame kind of explains how such a number came to be. They discuss how even though Idrians on the lower farms can petition the king if their farms face disaster, travel makes doing so impractical, and it's just easier to work in Tetalier. And Vivenna thinks, and in so doing, they betray their people. And I don't know if I agree with that statement entirely.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, oh, they betray their people. Well, technically, their people have also betrayed them, or their king has betrayed them.
In a small way, yeah.
He's not made it possible he's not made it accessible enough. Everything is just central. So he doesn't actually have like little, he's not like a bureaucrat like the Lord Ruler, you know? He doesn't have smaller bases that he can govern from to help people throughout the kingdom. And then there's also the idea that food only comes from the capital. So he could only help people after weeks and weeks of travel. So in so doing, they betray they're actually doing this for their people who would be their family. Your people, your first people are your family.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not going to be sitting here thinking about the rest of my town even. I'm thinking about my family. And that's what these people are doing. So Vivenna is just, she's being brought down into reality here. Even though she does have that thought.
Yeah, and it's like, first off, how were you prepped for rule if this very gray shade of leadership and things you'll have to deal with was so beyond your knowledge set? I might be about to... Go on.
I'm just thinking, yeah, like you said, how good was her training or her knowledge? How that just reveals to us that the king himself, the kingdom, the government itself does not know how bad it is.
Yeah.
So it's not that it was kept from her. I think they don't know, Or maybe either or. It's that it was kept from her, or they don't know. It seems like there's a mix.
Or it didn't matter because she was going to go to Tetelir anyway.
Yeah.
So I may be about to commit a dumb, but in theory, as far as the concept of betraying their own people, if Idrian Joe goes and works a job in Hallandren and then sends the money back to his family in Idris, is that not bringing more money into Idris? Because that's money that'll be spent, in theory, in Idris?
Yeah. But it's tainted money. It's tainted by the immorality of Tetelia.
Yeah. Look, I'm not an economics major, and I'm not making a moral claim on whether or not that's like an okay thing to do or not. But at the end of the day, on the human level, at the very lowest of levels, a guy's got to do what he has to feed his family.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. And Vivenna tries not to judge. And that's a sign of growth from her, I think.
Yeah, she's trying. She at least goes through. So she judges and then says, I shouldn't judge, which is usually what happens with humans, okay? So if you think you're not judging people, then you're really not conscious of your surroundings.
Right. And so she contemplates the weaknesses in her father's reign, but also the necessary decisions he must make in the face of Hallandren. Not all in Idris live an idyllic life. So Vivenna's growing up a little bit as well. She has a more realistic understanding of how the world works. And yes, her father does, it seems, have to pay to maintain such a large army. But it is also on him that he should be able to maintain a strong enough economy and so on to care for all of his people. I mean, at the same time, there will always be a lower class. There's no real way, I think, to ever actually beat poverty. But you do what you can to minimize it.
Yeah, not in reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no realistic way. But that's why looking at the idea of austere is basically communism in my eyes.
Is it? Okay.
It's the idea that you're not supposed to. Well, the way that they interpret austere themselves, because I feel like there's a basis that's actually good, but that's the fact that nobody can go above anyone else. Nobody should have more than another kind of thing is the basis within their religion. Like, I can't judge because I mustn't put myself above another person. That lends itself to, for Vivenna, thinking everyone is okay. Because if I'm okay and other people aren't okay, that makes me bad in her religion. And that would be a difficult thing to accept. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not going to pretend to know much of anything about the Amish, but I would have compared Idris more to an Amish type situation than a communist type situation.
Commie Amish. I think that works.
Comish?
Yeah, Comish. There you go.
So Tame leaves and Denth sits down, and he comments that Vivenna is starting to fit in a little bit. And again, we get that juice thing.
Yeah, she's doing what everyone else is doing.
Yes. But Vivenna does not like to hear that. She doesn't want to fit in, and she shouldn't even like the juice she's drinking. And we went off on her over that, I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Denth says it's good she's fitting in and points out Parlin, who is talking to Jules.
Ooh.
This, you know right away the direction that this conversation is going to go, I think. Mm-hmm. That you understand the relationship dynamic at play. We've all seen enough rom-coms. It's kind of cute. I say emphasis on the word kind of there.
Mm-hmm. And she's basically denying that she cares. The whole thing. She's denying that she cares. That and it's actually that her hair changed. So Denth realized. He was like,
Yeah.
by the way, that's not going to happen. Because I did think they were going to, there's the romance budding. And then he says, no, she's got other commitments or something. So,
yeah.
But yeah, she's already jealous anyway. She had a little bit of jealousy when they first arrived and he was looking at other women.
Yeah. So Vivenna thinks that Parlin looks ridiculous, and Denth is basically telling her, no, he's fitting in. Could you really point him out from any other? Would it be so unreasonable to imagine him in camouflage back home in the forests or whatever?
Yeah, and it's not immoral for him to be in camouflage.
Yep. And at a certain point, Denth says, you should wear trousers.
Mm-hmm. And she thinks trousers are not modest, so she's thinking they're a bit too tight, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's cheaper, okay? It's cheaper, so you're going to have to. You got to weigh all these things that you're worried about, Vivenna.
Yeah, but as they're talking about how trousers are more cost-effective, I found myself thinking, what will happen when the contract runs out? Is this a sign that we're running out of money? You're drinking expensive juice and refusing to wear cheap clothes?
Yeah, it could be. It makes us think about it because we want there to be a strong enough connection that even once the contract is done, that actually these golden-hearted people stick with her because they believe in the cause. But there is another reason as well. Also, it shows that Denth doesn't want the contract to run out anytime soon. He's going to get the same amount of money. But yeah, he does. It was quite a clever bit of, strategy. Her wearing a dress it makes them have to go to more expensive places as well, because that's where she'd fit in. If she wore, say, something less so, they could go to more dingy places and it would be more cost effective. So there's the chain reaction of just from her wanting to wear a certain kind of dress means that they have to pay more money. And paying more money means going to higher end restaurants and things like that in order to stay. So going to the trousers thing, it has a ripple effect. It's not just the cost of the the clothing that's causing a bit of a drain on their resources. And remember, they're also using their resources to help get, cause crap in the city as well. So, yeah. But I like that Denth, doesn't this mean that Denth wants to stay in the contract?
One would imagine, and one would also imagine that Vivenna can just say, look, my dad will pay for you. We'll make it work. Just stay, please. Yeah. And Vivenna seems like a person who would make good on making that payment. Yeah. I was confused, isn't the right word. Vivenna says trousers aren't modest, and I'm like, how are they not? Especially compared to a dress?
Because you can see the bum. You can see between somebody's legs. Very, very scary.
Okay. Anyway,
you can see that somebody has two legs. Uh-oh. And then in between them, there's something. Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would expect there to be actually the style to be quite baggy in a hot city like that. So yeah, she's thinking even baggy pants are too revealing.
Gotcha.
Get over yourself, Vivenna. Wear some harem pants. They're amazing.
So Vivenna refuses to get pants.
I'm just thinking of the English people that are like, why? Why would she not have underwear? Sorry.
Vivenna opens up to Denth about the conflicting things that she's been experiencing. Mm-hmm. She's very confused. Were Denth an immoral mercenary? Mm-hmm. Denth would be upset with me, I'm sure, for imagining there to be such a thing. It's interesting to me that Vivenna feels comfortable enough to be so vulnerable with Denth. Yeah.
It's endearing that I suppose we don't expect Denth to use that against her. Because he's helping her navigate this. The reason she's actually so confused is because he is showing her the way the world's actually working.
Yeah.
And yes, that's going to have an effect on her.
Yep. But Denth says the world's a confusing place.
Amen.
Yep. Denth philosophizes, you don't understand a man until you understand what makes him do what he does. Every man is a hero in his own story. At which point I wrote, before going any further, do you believe that of Vasher? Which gets answered pretty quickly as well.
So you were asking whether
Denth believes that Vasher thinks...
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But then Denth goes on and says, yeah, even Vasher probably sees himself as one.
So we get our answer.
Yeah. This philosophy, I think, is a fairly common one for people interested in stories and interested in writing, familiarize themselves with. They say to write a good villain, you have to write someone who believes that they are doing good. Yeah?
Yeah. You need to have grounded or realistic characters. They need to have solid motivations. That doesn't mean good motivations, like a motivation towards good, but they have to have some reason for what they're doing. Unless they're a completely crazy person, and that's the kind of person you're going for. But you can't have a whole story full of them. I don't think that would. You could write that story, Dorkus. Go and write the story where everybody has no real motives other than just doing. Anyway.
Sure. I think also just in terms of modern storytelling, we have gone too far down the anti-hero route. We have been oversaturated with, this conflicted character. He's doing bad things for the right reasons kind of a thing. And I wouldn't mind getting back to a place where we can tell stories where villains are villains and just letting them be like, yeah, I'm evil. I know it. I'm still going to be evil.
That actually reminds me of Stranger Things. Have you finished it?
I have, yeah. Not fond of it.
At least yeah, not fond of it. But at least in that one, there was this thing of, oh no, you're just like me, and you were just a kid, and he's manipulating you, and then Vecna's like, no, actually, I was like that all along.
Yeah, that's great.
I think that's pretty cool. It's not that he changed, because you could have been complaining about that.
Look, in Stranger Things, it was cringe AF. It really, really, really was. But I just finished Eye of the World. And it's going to be a long time before any of the episodes air near the end of the book. But there's a confrontation between Rand and the Dark One. And throughout the book, you're getting these conversations with the Dark One trying to work Rand over to his side. And I know in this book, the Dark One is evil incarnate. He is the devil. And each and every conversation, I want Rand so much to be like, hey, devil, have you considered good? Come to my side. Give it a shot, bro. And
it doesn't occur to him to do that because, I suppose he's just like, this is just evil incarnate. It can't change sides.
Yeah. So it's like, no, I know that there would be a futility to it, but
just try.
One, use it as a stall for time tactic in these dreams until you wake up. But this whole I'm going to convince you to join me thing is so one-sided. I would like to see Rand give it one shot. But you're right, it was cringe in Stranger Things. So it's like, why do I love this idea so much? And maybe it's just that I love a good redemption story. I don't know Christian theology, like when it comes to angels and Lucifer particularly well, but I know that Lucifer was an angel who fell, and he was supposedly once very beautiful. So I'm just saying, done right, it could work.
Where a villain is not really purely a villain.
No, now I don't know. I'm over this conversation.
Let's go. Next.
So as they're talking about Vasher seeing himself as a hero, Tonk Fa joins them. And Vivenna finishes the juice thinking it would be a sin to waste it. And is that an acceptance that she's changing?
Yeah, why not? It's a bit of an it's a concession that, like, well, it's here and it would be a waste for me not to experience it, but it's now that it's purchased. I wonder if this will stop her if she'll just not buy it anymore.
Right. Tonk Fa lost his monkey. Apparently he loses animals frequently.
I really worry, honestly. Does he sit on them or something?
I feel like they just run away. I kind of hope it's that than the alternative.
I hope it's that. Yeah.
It's like, this is so, like, bad. That poor monkey is missing. Will it get enough food and the care it needs? You don't know. Terrible thing.
He landed up being a Ross's monkey.
That's funny. They make their way to the next meeting at the Dedenir Garden. As they're making their way, Claude is shoving through the crowd to make way for them, and she doesn't want to rely on Claude to push that way through, so she's learning to go with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
The garden is a memorial to those who died in the Many War. Mm-hmm. It sounds very beautiful, and she thinks that maybe, like, these statues are where Hallandren get their love of art. Yeah?
Yeah, it started. But the way she says they're marred by color and they're ruined by the scarves and things that are put around the stuff. It's like, okay, we get it. This made me think about the fact that awakening something is easier the closer it is to human form.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's if something was alive or not also makes it difficult or not difficult. So I don't know what these statues are made of. If it was maybe clay or something. Yeah?
What if the statues are that army?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like they then turned to stone or something. I don't know. Yeah, it just got me thinking.
The lifeless Calad's phantoms.
Yeah, because there's so many of them, and they're really realistic. I think that there is a bit of they are worn down, obviously, but yeah, there is a bit of a flag coming up for me here that it's like he wants us to notice this.
Yes. They're meeting forgers in the gardens, which, great, good plan. Forgers, you can do a lot of shenanigans with the right paperwork.
You can make all kinds of truth.
Yep. 10th checks that Vivenna remembers what she has to do, but this part of the plan was hers.
Ooh.
Yeah, smart Vivenna, sneaky Vivenna.
Mm-hmm.
She's learning to be a leader.
What would Ostia think? Yeah.
And
I'm saying, what would Ostia think of your deception? Yeah, anyway.
Well, it's for the good of Idris, so I'm sure he's cool with it.
Yeah.
An off comment about mopping up blood has Vivenna think that Denth's group are uniquely literate.
What does that say about their origin story?
Yes. She sits as if at a picnic, and a forger asks if she's the princess. Vivenna states that she is, and tells them that she wants letters made to appear as if they were between certain members of the Hallandren priesthood and the king of Idris. She provides Dedalin's signature and seal, and I wrote, good idea, but bad if they use it for their own gain. Meaning now the forgers, now the forgers can sell more authentic forgeries to other interested parties.
Yeah. It's like giving a password over. It's...
Yeah. There'll be problems. And there's like no talk of, I'm going to pay you not to let others use this. This is just for our arrangement, no one else's. But they're criminals and forgers. They're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, who cares if they've said it or not?
Yep. So I'm wary of this.
Yeah.
Of this particular step. Forgery is great, don't get me wrong, but it is just...
Yeah, like, don't give them the seals. Don't give the seal and the signature. Just give the handwriting sample, and then you will do the seals and things.
Exactly. Or do something that doesn't require seals, because there are lots of things I'm sure you could come up with that don't require it.
But she wants to go for a big fish. She wants to show that, oh no, they've been in correspondence with the priests. Idris doesn't want war.
Correct.
That's what she wants to propagate, I suppose.
Yes. So Vivenna wants the letters to prove the priests are corrupt. And I wrote, you probably don't need forgeries for that.
Yeah, you just need their real letters. It's fine.
Exactly. She hands them a list and says she wants to make it look like the priests have been extorting Idris, threatening war, and make it look like Idris doesn't want war. Again, why do you need forgeries for this?
Yeah. I think she just needs the proof, I suppose. That's what she wants. She's like, oh, look, I know the proof's there, but I can't get it. So just give me what I know is there. Just It's an example.
Next, they meet with thieves who stole documents from the priests. The documents are unimportant, but meant to be just another distraction for them, which I think we learn later on is effective. Yeah?
Yeah. When? No, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure in one of the later chapters. I'm mostly going through my notes right now.
Oh, it's mentioned. Yes, it mentions, when we get POVs around the gods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vivenna relaxes and watches Parlin and Jules. Jules laughs. Parlin smirks. She feels she knows him well enough to read his expressions, and Jules laughs more. I wrote to myself, ooh, cat fight.
No, she won't fight. But he's like, he's a fool. He should go back to Idris. Okay.
Yep, which is kind of mean.
Yeah.
God forbid he talks to a woman. Denth disagrees, and he gets a great jab at Vivenna after she calls Parlin a fool. He says, we can't all be geniuses like you, and then points out that her hair shifted color. I wrote, boom! Take her down a peg. Her hair had turned red, and she thinks, what's happening to me? I used to be so good at this.
No, it's because you were so sheltered that you had control over your entire environment, over everything. So it was very easy to anticipate what your feelings were going to be. Now, things are all over the place. It's actually a lot more difficult than you actually realized, because you just didn't have that many emotions previously.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Jules has no interest in Parlin. Apparently, if you believe him, Parlin told Denth about he and Vivenna having been practically engaged since they were children. So I remember this from Dedelin's POV, and I think to a point Vivenna's. This all kind of serves to make me think Dedelin never really had any intention of sending Vivenna ever.
Yeah, it was just always... Well, it's not that he had this... He knew he was not going to send her off. It's just that he had this hesitation. He pretended as if it was never going to happen.
Yeah.
In his mind. It wasn't that he was like, I have a plan, I'm not going to send her. Because eventually he does get to that, obviously. But I feel like most of the time he was in denial.
Yeah. I mean, look, a part of me wants to say, if this is true, he set Ciri up to fail, because who else was he going to send but Ciri? The thing that's holding me back from actually saying that is Ciri played her role as well. She was the daughter that acted out. So it's sort of a two-way street. Anyway.
But I don't think it was a formal arrangement. It was just that's who it would be otherwise. And everyone knows it. Yeah.
Yeah. Vivenna insists she isn't interested in Parlin, which I don't believe for a second.
Mm-hmm. She's just maybe a bit too into herself and hasn't realized that she's into him.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
She's too into herself to admit that she actually cares about someone else beyond friendship.
Well, no, it's just that she's got other important things.
No, I'm talking about from the beginning. Like, even in the beginning, it was like she like put him over there on the side, and she didn't even. Maybe she just didn't allow herself to think about him that way properly, because she knew eventually she was going to. That was not her destiny. Maybe she was a bit too mature about it. Anyway, sorry. Now she's getting to be immature and jealous, and
it's easier for her to tell herself that he's a fool and doesn't like him when she's promised to the God King. But honestly, like, that time has come and gone. She's free and single.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, having that kind of, I think there's still some ego in there as well. Of just, I don't need anyone. I don't need no man, kind of thing. And it's just like, get over yourself.
Vivenna insists she isn't interested in Parlin, and Tongfa interrupts. Vivenna walks through the statues. She thinks the beautiful statues may be where the Hallandren got their penchant for art. We had that discussion. She thinks about contradictions. Biochromatic breath is beautiful and wonderful. She's tempted to awaken, but she won't lose herself. Divorcing one's belief from their actions is dangerous ground, and she decides not to awaken. If it continues to tempt her, she will become drab. So that's a large chunk that I got through. It's actually all very nice passages as she's walking through and having these insights.
Yeah.
The topic of awakening and her coming to the affirmative decision not to do it will obviously be challenged in a future chapter. But for the time being, I really enjoyed her contemplating what Denth has been telling her about how they, as mercenaries, aren't responsible for anything that they are ordered to do, which I think we've articulated, I at least highly disagree with, and I'm very glad that Vivenna seems to disagree as well.
We did have the idea of the mercenaries being the most honest people because they aren't hiding their motivations. But I feel like there's a lot more to these mercenaries.
I mean,
so they're still hiding their motivations.
Yeah. I mean, and even so, it's like, first off, mercenaries want to be hired, so I'm sure they'll flatter you and support whatever decisions you want. Not all mercenaries are going to be the same. Not everyone is of moral character or the same moral character. And some are going to be more self-serving than others. I feel like this book really wants us to re-examine our prejudices against mercenaries, but I'm like, I don't know. I'll take it on the individual level.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. We've had another extension of one of her determinations. Before this chapter, she was like, I'm not going to get rid of the breath because I don't want to get rid of my breath. But now she's like, this temptation is a very bad thing. And now I might be willing to become drab over it.
Yeah.
Do you see this progression as a good thing or a bad thing for her?
It's a good thing in that it's more in line with her beliefs. She finds another reason. She said her actions will be more in line with her belief. So she should actually, if she is as she thinks or says she is, she should have actually become drab immediately. But now we do still have that argument that this helps her to help her country. She's able to go to the meetings and things like that, go to the court and all of that because of the breath. So it helps morally, but yeah, I don't know about practically.
Yeah. I don't know. This chunk, it's kind of emphasized that maybe the Idrians aren't the good guys we've been led to believe they are. So
But they're not the bad guys, if you know what I'm saying. They're just normal people. They aren't these pure people.
I agree. I suppose what I'm getting at here is I don't dislike Vivenna, and I don't judge her for believing as she believes. So I think her conviction here, in the face of such change, and considering there are areas in which she is loosening up in, I think, reasonable doses, I think having juice is a perfectly okay thing to do. The awakening thing is such a core tenet of her religion that I think that she's willing to become drab is a good progression for her. But that brings us to chapter 29, yeah? As per usual, I love the cerebron, the Suzery of it. Terrible.
It's cute. No, it's very sweet.
Yes. Suzebron asks Ciri about mountains. Ciri doesn't think they're as wondrous as anything in Tetelir, but he disagrees. This scene, by the way, becomes the standard, I think, Sanderson self-reflection scene. The scene where the characters gaze longingly out to the world and have some sort of introspective moment. This is Kelsier and Sazed. This is... I know there were others.
There was a Marsh and Kelsier discussion at one point. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great scene. Suzebron gets a good jab at Ciri over her presumption that he would be bored in Idris. He writes, more boring than sitting in the same palace every day, not allowed to leave, not allowed to speak, being dressed and pampered.
I don't think pampered helps your, what do you call it, your case here, but everything else, yeah, sounds quite boring.
Have we brought up Buddhism yet in this series?
I don't think so.
So, do you know much about the history of Buddhism?
Not really, no.
Okay, I just Googled it to double check the name. Siddhartha is what Google AI is telling me. So basically, as best I can recall, the idea was he was this prince, or he was royalty, and he grew up in luxury. And his father, gosh, I'm butchering this, basically didn't want him to know what suffering was in any way, shape, or form. And so he grew up in sort of this false reality of perfection. And one day he's doing something and suddenly he sees an old person. He's taken aback, like, what's wrong with you? What is this? And basically he learns what suffering is. And he ends up choosing... This is really like the end of my knowledge of the story, so I kind of don't want to continue it, but it's about the introduction of suffering into this person's life. And I see a lot of that in Suzebron, who has been not allowed to see anything in the world.
Yeah, so, he's awakening to the good and the bad of the world.
Yes.
Slowly. And so is Vivenna. Vivenna obviously at a much faster rate because she's out.
Yeah. Suzebron is learning exceptionally quickly. I wondered if that perhaps has to do with the breaths and his returned status. Interestingly, that actually comes back in the light song scene with the child returned. And Ciri reflects on her own ignorance and her inability to properly teach him. There's a cute moment of her thinking something to the effect of, oh, my teachers are having the last laugh at me now.
Yeah, because I didn't pay attention to them. Now it's like, I needed that stuff for someone else. Oh.
Yeah, so that was enjoyable. And she tells him about mountains. They let you see the surface of the land as it extends upward toward Oster's domain in the sky. So that line right there is pulling double duty here. One, in the sense that it is a belief statement from her that cuts against the grain, so it would seem, at least as far as the merchants are concerned. It speaks to her love of nature, but also it introduces Oster into the conversation between them. And I'm so excited to see this conversation happen. How does Susebron perceive another god and another god who isn't returned? I was very excited.
A really great angle. And you can see the way that he views gods from that conversation.
Yes. So Susebron doesn't know who Oster is, which is great. It makes sense, too. Like, why would the priests tell him there are any other gods but he and the returned?
Yeah, everything else is irrelevant and false, so what's the point?
Yep. Ciri explains he's the Idrian god, but Susebron struggles to comprehend a god that isn't returned. He wonders if Oster is very handsome.
Which is so cute, because it's like, oh no, she has another god that she could like. And I would prefer it if she liked me.
Yeah. There's a line later on where, like, he puts his arm around her or something, and she thinks this could get very dangerous. And yes, they're falling in love with each other. It's so great.
Oh no, yeah, she thinks it's dangerous when he's close up to her, so she moves away.
Ah, that's what it is.
And yeah, and then by the end, he actually puts his arm around her.
Yes, so sweet. So he's confused by the concept of other religions, and Ciri explains Oster as a force which can't be met. She sees him in nature and beauty. And I really loved this explanation because it's not so far off how I have expressed my perception of God.
Yeah, and what I found most striking here is just the confusion from Susebron. Like, it really is difficult for him to grasp a god like that. A god that is unmeetable and not a person, actually.
Right. She explains that Idrians don't like the Halandrin religion. And this is all great stuff that I'm really glad Susebron is hearing. Again, it's tinged with, explain it properly. It's good that he knows these things.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, the only thing he's thinking about is whether she will like another god more than him at this point.
Yeah. Susebron is worried that Ciri doesn't like him, and she reassures him, but he doesn't like to be referred to as sweet.
Oh, that was so cute as well.
Yeah, the interactions on it are great.
Very cute, romancy building things.
Yeah, and Susebron gets some of the best lines in this chapter. When Ciri is describing Oster as a force, he's like, "Have you met this creature?"
He does flatter her as well.
Yeah, my notes aren't doing it justice. He writes, "I don't think god kings are supposed to be sweet," and Ciri responds with, "You're terrible and mighty, awesome and deific." And sweet.
Sweet.
It's so cute. He wants to meet Oster, which is great. Loved that. Ciri lightly mocks him and notes to herself that he doesn't seem to mind being mocked, which is good.
Good-natured. Yeah.
Yes. And he claims the most beautiful thing there has already come to him. And Ciri blushes. Oh. Smooth Susebron.
That was really good. Smoothebron, yeah.
Ciri doesn't think she's as beautiful as the returned, but Susebron insists beauty is not how one looks. And he references a story and explains what they say about humankind is true. He doesn't see like normal men. Basically, Ciri is saying, you can't tell real life from these stories. And Susebron is like, no, these stories are things that people have gone through, and that this is how they pass their lessons on to each other. Yes?
Yeah, these are core lessons that are underneath things that occur in real life. He the way he describes how he sees things is like it's as if you see in things in such detail and complexity that you can't help but find them beautiful. So everything is beautiful to him, which sounds pretty damn awesome. Like he says, even a blemish is interesting or beautiful because it's got all variation in it.
Right.
Which is an awesome thing for, to apply to a god, actually. Like having the consciousness of a god would be knowing that thing that Vin supposedly had, Vin had when she had preservation. It was the sense that everything is as it should be, everything is natural. That's the same idea as coming through for me from Suzebron, and it makes sense. It's both branches. Yeah.
I think you want your gods to generally be good people.
I'd say.
So, because of the way that Suzebron sees, he has to focus on things other than the superficial. Ciri realizes she's very close to Suzebron and thinks their attraction is dangerous. We've covered that. Suzebron wishes he could see her home and offers to speak to the priests. He can use artisan script, and Ciri thinks this is a bad idea. I was surprised that Suzebron can use artisan script. Do you think this undercuts the writing and the revelation about his inability to communicate up to this point in the book, knowing now that, oh, yes, he can. Differently, but he can.
I think we still get the idea. Sure, he can read it. I don't think that they communicate with him to the point of like they give him instructions and he can give them feedback. It's more like they taught him that so that they can give him instructions. There's no two-way communication. As much as he's talking about communication, I think there's not that two-way thing. So that element of him not communicating about normal things, being just natural, that remains. Doesn't undercut it.
Okay.
I think it actually helps with some practicality things because they just talk to him. Like, yeah.
Sure. Ciri states the priests are planning to kill him, but he insists she has no proof.
Yeah. He insists that no, Mom, my priests are all good. She's like, no, but I need to find proof for this.
Yeah, and throughout this conversation, he'll concede a couple of points are strange, but he still comes down on the side of the priests.
Yeah.
So Suzebron doesn't know how to pass on breaths. So I do like that they're both working at this mystery. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not just flirting.
Yes. They wonder if breath can be forced upon his child. Suzebron first claims that he is born with breath, not given them. I wrote, wait, what? Then when Ciri contradicts that, he claims to be given 3 or 4 breaths instead of 2. And I write to myself, in all caps, there is a clue here. And then in normal script, I write, maybe the breath is killing him, or the more breath he has, the more he needs to keep going. And that's why they have to have a kid soon, to reset that.
Oh, because his rate is going to become too high. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
It's not just extras by mistake, It's not just like, oh, just an extra snack today. It's no.
Exactly.
He actually needs them. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's a ticking atom bomb or something.
And they wouldn't let him know that he's deteriorating. They wouldn't leave him to the point where he gets more tired.
Right.
Too long. They would notice the rate needs to change.
Yes. So I don't know what we can do here beyond speculate, but this feels really, really important.
And then it just makes me realize, okay, we love this romance and everything, but the fact that he is a return means he dies in this book.
Yeah. So you're leaning,
is
that your prediction?
Yeah, he's going to have to die because we can't keep him alive. We can't keep the breaths going unless there's some other mechanism that we discover.
Yeah, unless we find a way to just totally rewrite the rules at the end of this. somehow.
Yeah.
In a good way, I mean.
Yeah, so at some point she's going to be saying goodbye to him. So we're seeing this beautiful blossoming romance, and then it's like, bye.
Yeah. No, he's probably going to die to save everyone in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As these stories tell that they don't believe.
Yeah.
Siri wonders if it's just the breath he was born with that is useless, or if it's also the gifted breath that he can pass on or not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, the tongue thing is kind of making it hard to tell. I mean, maybe there's a method. Maybe there's an extraction method.
Yeah, maybe you can mentally do it. But yeah, the idea that they cut his tongue out means that he definitely can. For me, it means he definitely can he can awaken things.
Suzebron is not bothered by Siri's theories, though he doesn't yet believe them. He realizes the reason she treats him differently is because she doesn't believe he is a god. Being a god is who he is, and that she doesn't believe that makes him sad. I wrote, "This is very sweet. I don't believe it will go dark, but considering what I said in a previous episode about walking fine lines, a dark path could be, everyone must know I'm a god. By force."
Mm-hmm. It could happen, yeah.
I don't think it will,
but we think he's sweet, yeah.
Yep. And Siri comes back with excellent argumentation. She argues that she's not the only one that doesn't think he's a god, but more importantly, it is because of this that she can look beyond the godhood and know the real him.
Yeah, so it kind of brings it back to the fact that no, she really does like you. Your godness is not the only thing about you. And that's what she is awakening, is that you're allowed now to be more of a person.
Yep. There's lots of sweet dialogue from this point on about godhood and humility. And that's where the scene ends. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to 4 men are dead in the Dedenir Gardens. Vivenna is disconcerted by the color of dead flesh. And that's in ripe contrast to Suzebron basically saying, all colors are beautiful to me, so I have to look to other things. Yeah, I wouldn't want to find the color of dead flesh beautiful.
He finds everything beautiful, okay? So you're being too specific.
Look, maybe it's beautiful in the way that a spore druid finds beauty in decay, but yeah, I'm not a spore druid, so.
So sorry.
Denth warns Vivenna that this is why they've been worried about Vasher. So Vasher's done some scary things.
Killed many people.
Remind me, were these men the forgers? I don't think they were.
No, they were just thieves that worked with Denth.
That's right. The wounds of the dead men were drained of color. The mercenaries...
So maybe they wouldn't be beautiful. Those wouldn't be beautiful. To Suzebron. No colors, nothing.
Yeah. Denth explains the sword caused the strange wounds. Tongfa believes they need to steal the sword, but Denth refuses to touch it. Vasher needs to draw it. He won't be able to use it for long.
What is the rule? Why can't he use it for long? Does he go mad? Does he... What happens? We haven't really seen more than just drawing a little bit of the blade and then the mist thingy coming out.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe it draws his color out to use it, or his breaths. Maybe it eats his breath. I wonder if... Because we learn, I think, at some point that the sword was made to kill impure things. Maybe Vasher is... I don't know. Maybe Vasher is so good that that's why he can use it, or maybe he's so bad. I don't know.
But we have to pay attention to that. We have to find out why.
Yeah. They argue about how Vasher killed Arsteel, meaning some still believe that he used the sword, others think he didn't. I'm getting the sense that he didn't, though, but there were probably shenanigans.
Yeah, there's some sort of shenanigans because there are the marks on our seal were not like these.
Right.
The wounds were not like that.
Right.
But he still killed him. Okay.
Yep. And then Vivenna feels someone watching her. Oh no.
Someone with much breath. And then I did immediately go, okay, Vasher's watching.
Yes. I did that as well. Nightblood refers to Denth as Vara Trelades. And I write, ooh, obvious connection to Trelades. Makes me wonder about what he said about nonsensical beliefs and what the priests may believe or be doing. So I wonder if there's a relationship thing here, like maybe Denth is Trelades' son or cousin or brother or something to that effect. It makes me think about what Denth said to Vivenna, and like maybe he knows something about the returned that no one else but the highest of high priests know.
Maybe. But we do note that later on we do know that Denth actually isn't Haladrin or whatever. He actually isn't from there. So, well, does that mean he's not from Titelia? Or does it just mean that he's not from that city? And you can see a priest not coming from the city, just being from a different city in Titelia.
Sure. I was still wondering, Cosmere Traveler, maybe until we got the Trelades connection. I don't know.
Yeah, Vara could mean like son of Trelades.
Right.
It very much wants us to think that.
Yeah. Vasher notes the other mercenaries and Vivenna, but there's no mention of Parlin. So I bet Parlin's going to play a very interesting role in stopping Vasher or confronting Vasher, that Parlin is below notice for him.
Yeah.
Nightblood asks about Shashara, but Vasher states they killed her like they intend to kill Denth. So,
and the way that they killed Arsteel. So we have that that admission that he did kill Arsteel. I don't know if it's they killed him directly or if he blames himself for Arsteel's death.
Yes, it could be vague. I did take it to mean he did the deed, but you're right. It could have been. It does lack specific context. And I like that idea that maybe he blames himself in some way.
Yeah.
Nightblood doesn't seem to comprehend that Shashara is dead, only noting that she made him and he was made to destroy evil.
And he's really good at destroying things, and he thinks that's a really great compliment for me.
Yes. So, who is Shashara?
Yeah, exactly. Who is she?
Yep. There's so much mystery. I mean, we get in a later chapter stories of people who studied breath and returned, and breath and lifeless. So this idea that there are scientists out there experimenting is...
we need that.
There's a science to it. Sanderson does like his hard magic systems. And
laws of decay, etc.
Exactly. And the sword is made to destroy evil. Maybe that's why Nightblood couldn't have killed Arsteel. It also, I guess, feeds into Vasher's perception of there's so much evil in the world. These guards, they all took the sword and it killed them. Kind of a worldview.
Yeah.
And then we get the tidbit of information. Whatever Vivenna is doing is interfering with Vasher's plans.
Mwahaha. The woman.
Indeed, mwahahaha. But I thought that Var wouldn't have necessarily been upset with whatever it was that Vasher claimed to be planning. And I have to imagine Var would be happy with Vivenna and what she's doing.
Yeah, they would probably have been like allies.
Yeah, so did Vasher just straight up lie to Var? I didn't get that sense.
Either way, he needed the breath, and that was that.
That's true. And then that brings us to chapter 30, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 30.
Chapter 30.
Blushweaver intrudes upon Lightsong making pottery. That sounds fun.
So random.
Lightsong explains that he has discovered that he is bad at pottery, and he's so excited for it.
It's a new data point.
Yes, and I do think that this segment here more or less confirms to us that the fact that he was good at that sport in the previous chapter must be connected to what he's doing here.
Yeah.
Or learning here, rather.
Mm-hmm.
He shows her that he is an excellent juggler. He knows sailing terms. He's fantastic at math. He's a halfway decent artist. And there are several other skills that he learned he has no talent for.
So we're learning also that gods are not good at everything.
Yes. The big takeaway from this whole thing is elements of who they were beforehand make it through. And he even applies this to other gods, including Blushweaver, who seems to have a natural affinity for this politicking when others don't. He explains that these skills he has are from his previous life. Blushweaver claims they aren't supposed to worry about who they were before, that whoever she was boring because she was an ordinary woman. Yeah, I think we get a lot of character out of Blushweaver through this.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm happy with where I am now. It's all about now. I don't care about what was before. We don't need to.
Yeah. Lightsong doesn't believe she isn't a little curious. I mean, now that he has planted the seed in her mind, I bet it will grow. For whatever that's worth.
Maybe she's not interested in the past because she found out something about it and ignores it. But it seems like, nah, there is the culture of just ignoring your past life among the gods.
Yeah. They both find themselves at a loss for words. And I wrote to myself, is this supposed to be a sweet moment?
Yeah, because they've stopped their nattering. Great.
Yeah, there is like a moment that seems more genuine than others. Lightsong says, "You'd find me less than satisfactory." She responds, "I think you overestimate me." He says, "That's impossible." She paused, flushing slightly. Lightsong, I didn't exactly mean. And she says, "Oh, well, now you've spoiled the moment. I was going to say something clever." That strikes me as intended to be, I think, the most genuine, there could be something between these two moment. Certainly more so than all the others.
Well, it could be, yeah, he actually does admire her. That's what's actually coming through, is that underneath that, all his wah, he actually does admire her, and that could be something. But also it's just when they are actually genuine towards each other and that they let go of this flirty flirt, it's actually embarrassing because, we're being a bit too genuine. We're being a bit too honest. We can't be too honest.
Yeah. Returned forbid that they feel anything sincere. Anyway, the two arrive at Hopefinder's palace. Hopefinder appears to be 13 years old, though he's older than Lightsong in terms of being around as a returned. Hopefinder laments a difficult petition that morning, and Blushweaver is shocked he's considering the option. He believes that because of Ciri's arrival and efforts, stability will soon arrive. He seems to be the only one.
So that should make him difficult to get his password.
One would think. Throughout this entire conversation, it's really weird because you and I know the depths to which Vivenna is going to make things more difficult for Hallandrin. You and I know how hard Blushweaver is acting, in my view, to facilitate war. We know how afraid Daedalin is of war, and we know what Trellides thinks in terms of war. So for Hopefinder to be here thinking, everything's going to be okay, it almost makes me feel as if Hopefinder's dumb, but he's clearly portrayed to be this sort of very wise character, this wise, good being. So it's strange to me.
Mm.
But he claims to have contacts in the palace who know better than not.
Mm-hmm. Maybe his contacts are talking crap to him.
True. Hopefinder disagrees with Blushweaver's opinions on war. Again, he seems to be in the minority on this matter.
Mm.
The returned are aware of someone claiming to be an Idrian princess in the city, though this is the first Lightsong has heard of it. And first off, it's great to know that those in the palace are aware of Vivenna, if not like the specifics of whether or not she actually is, and so on. But I got a little annoyed at Lightsong here. I wrote, how can you act surprised that you don't know things when you go out of your way to avoid knowing things?
He is that complicated.
Yeah.
Because he won't admit to himself that he wants to know things.
Sure.
So he can't help but be surprised when he doesn't know. And then he's like, oh, oopsie. I'm not supposed to care. I'm not supposed to care.
No, you can't. And then it's like there are moments that he has with Ciri where it's like, is this an act? Is it not an act? It kind of, there are elements of it that feel a little inconsistent. It's not terrible, but it's noteworthy. Lightsong feels lost by the discussion and what's happening in the city. He reflects on how Hopefinder seems very mature. Part of him is mature, but others are childish. Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's this weird, ethereal, sort of grown-up. Like there's.
It almost grants
like
him an ageless quality.
Yes, like this weird, wise young person at the same time. It reminds me of a certain vampire story. It does the same thing.
I kind of imagine him like Aang.
Oh yeah, as maybe not as playful as Aang, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah. Lightsong contemplates returned forms. There used to be a fat returned, and the ideal beauty standard changes is the topic he considers on this. He continues to think about what survives the transformation to being returned. Memory doesn't, but social competence, language.
That makes me go, what does that mean for the awakened, the lifeless? Do they have something left over if the returned do?
I mean, if nothing else, we know they seem to be attracted to breath. And I don't know, did you get much Big C character out of Claude? We'll have talks about Claude in depth later, but did you get character from him?
Not complex character.
I agree. Okay. We'll save that for later. Blushweaver assures Hopefinder her contacts confirm her beliefs are not mere paranoia. She claims she has people in the God King's palace, but Hopefinder claims they all do.
And Lightsong says he doesn't.
Right? Can I have one of yours? That was, as far as his snark goes, I enjoyed that one. Hopefinder knows Blushweaver wants his codes. Hopefinder explains why he finds existence boring. After 11 years, most of the gods listen to the court, but don't matter.
Jaded 13-year-old.
Yeah, poor kid. But it's like this whole system, lab rats given everything they could want. It's like it's designed to make them depressed.
Yeah, but well, not designed to make them depressed, but its design makes them depressed. If you know what I'm saying, it's not intentional. That they think that giving these gods everything will not make them depressed.
Right. Hopefinder firmly believes war will not come. No way it doesn't. I'll be shocked if Sanderson finds a way to prevent the war from happening.
Yeah.
Because this whole book, it feels like it's building up to it, specifically.
Yeah, even the prophecy bits, all of that, all of the foreboding feelings.
Yeah. And look, to my knowledge, there isn't a Warbreaker 2. So I don't know how, because we're about halfway through with the book. I don't know how it'll all resolve, but something big will happen. That it feels like such a non-statement to say. Of course, there will be a climax to the book. But it's like, how do you... It's Chekhov's war is what it feels like. Anyway, Hopefinder doesn't believe war will come, so he offers Blushweaver his commands in exchange for her vote on the Council of Social Ills. She must vote as he says until one of them dies. This was an option? But no, I get not wanting to be concerned with war matters, but wanting to be concerned over social issues and so on. But like, I thought these things were portioned out specifically by the priests. It's kind of strange. The priests would be like, yes, this can happen. We'll let them switch.
Well, I don't know. I guess they have no power over the switch. Do they know that it happens?
Because they're willing to say it in front of the priests so that neither of them backs out. Now, against my point, technically speaking, Blushweaver still has to be the one to vote. She's just agreeing to vote as he tells her to.
I suppose that the way that they would interpret all this is it's the way of the gods. It's we would be interfering otherwise.
Yeah. After a moment of silence, Hopefinder thinks Blushweaver is reconsidering, but she cuts him off to agree to the deal. So it speaks to her conviction. And at a certain point, I feel like she's going to be incentivized to start the war. Considering what happens in a future chapter that we're going to cover soon, I feel like she's basically going to try to make it happen.
Yeah, I get from her that she is just trying to make it happen.
Agreed.
She wants it to happen. It's not that even she'll need much motivation for it.
Yeah. Lightsong realizes how serious Blushweaver is. He thought she was just posturing, and Lightsong feels worried. I'm like, where have you been?
Yeah, dude. We knew this a while ago, but okay.
Yeah. I kind of, like, just generally speaking, I'm liking Lightsong less and less. As far as this relationship.
Just want him to get his... Yeah. No, I just want him to get his stuff together. Like, okay. Like, stop spending so much energy trying to be, I don't care, and things like that. Just grow up.
Right. Because he clearly does care. And it's like he's having this first... He's watching it happen, but refusing to do anything about it while silently feeling uncomfortable with it all. Like, either be in or be out. Don't... Anyway, it seems to sink into him that she's very serious.
Welcome.
Lightsong sees or remembers something. A prison.
It's like a vision.
Yes. I think it's one of his memories. Comes back. I think it's feeding the he was a detective idea.
But how? Yeah, okay, I can see that. But why is it associated here with as soon as the codes come? Because that does feel like that is ominous. It's like, this is now the prison we're going to be in.
You're right.
Now that something big has happened. The fact as it happens as these codes are going to be transferred, that's a big deal to me.
Maybe it's something like we're locked in type of a sentiment. Like the future was foggy, but because she now has the passphrase, like a certainty will occur. Hopefinder's passphrase is a candle by which to see, which... If you recall, Kitty, there was a chapter in Way of Kings titled A Light by Which to See.
Oh, I did not.
You did not? I think it was the one where Kaladin survives the high storm.
Oh, okay.
What make you of that?
Well, it's a poem. And considering we have a light by which to see. Considering in later chapters, we have a certain storyteller who is also a Cosmere traveler. It makes me wonder if that poem was somehow written by him.
Interesting. Definitely some Cosmere stuff going on here. Hopefinder tells Blushweaver to vote that evening in favor of the reformist arguments and then leaves. So you get the sense that Hopefinder possibly, I can only imagine this would be a vote designed to make things easier for Idrians in the city, which is ironic because I think that Blushweaver is behind the raid later on. We'll get to that. Lightsong thinks that they were manipulated, and Blushweaver claims she's only been manipulated if there isn't war. And that's the incentivization right there.
Yeah. Well, part of it, because she's very convinced there's going to be war anyway. That whole discussion all over again.
Yeah. Blushweaver claims to have 2 of the armies now, and to Lightsong's surprise, she's referring to Mercy Stars, which it's interesting to me that she doesn't include Lightsong.
He hasn't given the codes yet.
Yeah, so it's not enough that he, agree to use them as she wants. She wants the codes. And you can... that sweet moment between the 2 of them aside, I don't particularly trust Blushweaver not to drop Lightsong as soon as she gets the codes.
Oh, yeah. Drop it like it's hot. She has got her own thing, her own reasons to do things, and if he became inconvenient or in any way, easily she would drop him.
Yeah. Mercy Star is comforted by Lightsong's interest in the incident at her palace. I noted that because I had presumed the opposite would happen.
And she's like, why are you looking into my business? But she's really touched. She's like, oh, you really cared. Thanks.
Yeah. And Blushweaver is surprised he's interested in the murder. She wants to know the real purpose of his interest. And he explains Lightsong believes he may have been in law enforcement in his previous life. He thinks he'd be one of the best duelists in the city if he got a blade. At this point, going through it, I wondered if he was Arsteel. I no longer believe that, but I wondered.
But was he Arsteel? It could make sense that he's actually not a law enforcement guy. Remember, we did posit that he could be a good law enforcement person familiar with law enforcement because he is such a prolific criminal.
Sure.
But yeah, there is also just the idea that, okay, is he the guy that killed Arsteel or something? But it seems like Arsteel was killed a lot
later.
Earlier.
Or earlier.
I mean, no, sorry. And what I mean is, it wasn't that long ago that Arsteel was killed. So
right.
Yeah.
Lightsong assures Blushweaver that he is serious. Thus ends the chapter.
Chapter 31.
31. Hello, everyone. We had to take a quick break in between the last several chapters and these 2, but we are back at it. Denth does not want to go through with the Idrian meeting, but Vivenna insists upon it. This has been the dynamic up to this point, fairly standard here, yes?
And she wants to see her people.
Yes. The poor, poor people that she sees as the oppressed, poor, helpless people forced to bend to the whims of the Hallandren. She plans to meet with them in Idrian territory, which Denth finds unwise, and they enter into the slums where Vivenna begins to feel unsafe. In fact, she had considered buying a home in this area, but, well, she didn't feel safe. So she thinks it's terrible that her people have to live within the slums.
Yeah, amongst all the prostitutes and gangs, she's feeling very, very sorry for them.
Yes, and she's feeling unwelcome. So she feels sorry for her people having to live there, and Denth informs her that the Idrians are the prostitutes and the gangs. The slums are the Idrian Quarter, and apparently the slums are even called the Highlands, which, ouch.
Yeah. They have an explanation of how the slums actually work out, how they were created.
Yes. So, and this feels as if it's not a unique story. This is, it almost reads as Sanderson explaining, this is how this kind of thing occurs. Immigrants gather, make an enclave, other places come first, guards tend to target foreign sections of the city. It's a really sad thing to hear. You want to, in a perfect world, you want to, I think, yeah, I think you want immigrants to assimilate as best they can. And I don't necessarily think that means forsaking your lineage and your history and your culture, but you also have to be welcome. There needs to be a certain kind of synthesis, and frequently
from both sides.
Yes,
they need to be welcomed, and they need to be accepting of the culture that they're going into, but they are othered the whole time.
Yeah, and frequently things like bigotry, I think, get in the way of a clean
assimilation.
Yes, a clean synthesis and assimilation. Anyway, it's the topics in this chapter are dealing with cultural identity and assimilation and bigotry and poverty and all kinds of things. And it's a really big deal for Vivenna because she sees elements of Idris in the slums. She sees like markings of Auster around on doors, on clothes, and things like that. And this is also how cultures evolve and change. So there's not like a solid, unchanging culture. The Lord Ruler did an exemplary job in 1,000 years of keeping stopwatches the same per that epigraph, but without an immortal god king to enforce strict cultural norms, things change. Things do naturally change at a variety of factors.
But Vivenna is going through this thing of so the main thing that we got from this passage of time was that she thought there's these scared Idrians that are huddled together in the slums because that's where they've been forced to go and whatever. And then she gets the realization that okay, so they are the slums are created by them. It's this awakening to the reality that Idrians are not perfect people. Just because you have this faith of yours that is supposed to be, in your opinion, higher than the what the Halandrins are believe in, she thinks that they're perfect people. It's quite silly of her to think that just because they're part of a certain nation, they are inherently good. I know that there are characteristics of nations, like some people say South Africans are very friendly and things like that. So there is a characteristic of a people. I understand that, but she's really not realistic in her view of her people. It's very idealistic.
Yes. Vivenna, as she's noticing these grays and whites with color and symbols of Auster, she comes to blame Halandrin for turning her people into thugs and thieves. And on top of that, she feels her childhood was ruined by Halandrin, that she hates the city. This is the most hateful that we see her.
What do you make of this blame placed on Halandrin? It's the people have left their country for a reason. Okay, so they left Idris for a reason. So that's part of it. Okay, you can't take that out. Then there's they've come to this country and as if Halandrin has forced them to be a certain way and make certain choices with malice as well. It's the way she just hates it as well. It seems like she gives it a bit of a characteristic that, it's on purpose. I don't know. It just seems like this happens. It's a a result of just how societies form and how societies mix and don't mix. So I don't know about this blame. It can't be all Hallandren. What do you think?
I think no, I don't think it is all Hallandren, but I do think that Hallandren does play a substantial role in all of it. We can compare Blushweaver and Hopefinder's position on the matter in that, considering the attack that happens later, I think the characters are wearing a color that indicates that Blushweaver is more or less motivating the attack, cracking down on the Idrians. And that kind of thing I see as making things worse. But then we've got Hopefinder basically saying, Blushweaver, you need to start voting for the reformists, which sounds like it could be a good thing for them. And yes, we see that there's a sort of criminal underbelly amongst the Idrians, but there's also going to be criminals amongst the other Hallandren as well. It's just that this is the culture that we're focusing on here, because we saw Var and his pawn call dissidents. So this is not a stable place, and it's just more gray than it's all Hallandren's fault or it's all Idrian's fault.
Absolutely. But as we spoke about earlier, there is when we want successful assimilation, you do need people to be welcoming, and there is such rivalry between these two groups, these two nations, and we'll see how they've forgotten their history or just held on to certain parts of their history. So as much as I said there's no malice there in terms of we want to ruin the Idrians and make them live in a slum, it's more like there's malice from the Hallandrens in that they just don't like Idrians.
Yeah, the religious undertones. Let's not forget that the Idrians believe in their god and the Hallandrens believe in their many gods. So
yeah, there's a lot of difference between the two groups. Yeah, they're just so different. Assimilation would be more difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got Vivenna noticing all of this.
Yes. She's growing up. And she's feeling a unique amount of hatred here for Hallandren, and that seems big for her character. She feels her childhood was ruined by Hallandren. She hates the city. Tame joins them at a poorly kept park, and as people gather, she turns her hair yellow. So she has the thought, these people aren't even Idrians anymore.
Yeah, that's quite a judgment to put upon them. She's like, oh, because Idrians are they're perfect people, they're good people, they would never be in a slum. And one of the thoughts she has is, how could an Idrian ever even think of being a prostitute?
Yeah,
this is the reality, Vivenna. And now you're also taking away their identity. You're deciding that they're not good enough to call themselves Idrians.
Yeah,
when they're humans and they're your people. But you just want to reject them.
Yeah.
Because of you've just gone through this. This is this craziness of hate. You've just gone through this whole thing of hating on Hallandren because it's their fault. And now you're like, oh, well, these people aren't even Idrian anymore. Okay, you could still care about them though, because you've got that whole idea that Hallandren did this to them. So bring them home. And that is what she eventually is trying. But she's rather discouraged as she's doing it.
Yeah. And here's the thing. This crowd in the park isn't a large crowd. Vivenna sort of arbitrarily decides, I want to talk to my people when she's in the park. So she starts talking to them. They're onlookers. This isn't the group of so-called 100 that we were led to believe she was going to speak with. And then when they get into the meeting with the leaders later, I'm pretty sure it's just the three, the slumlords.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that that gathering at the park was the 100 people that was discussed, and then the leaders are a separate thing. That the 100 people, sort of people that want to come and see her, that did happen, and that's where Thame even says to her, "Oh, they came to They came to see if you are who you say you are, and that's about it.
Right.
Like I think the whole thing of her talking to them was not really the whole. It wasn't a campaign sort of visit, but she turned it into that, and then fails miserably.
Gotcha. Yeah. So the event, as I've written in my notes, is Vivenna wants to talk to the group. She offers comfort and hope and promises the king will find a way to bring them home. Some in the crowd snort and walk away, more ignore her. They were interested in whether or not she was actually the princess and not much more than that. And one man claims their life is better in Hallandren. Tame insists they're patriots. They just want to get back at Hallandren. So I wrote to myself, it is really strange to move to a place that you hate. I mean, I guess if there's more opportunity there and you have to feed your kids, you have to do that. But sort of back to this assimilation thing, I have to imagine there must be a reasonable middle ground toward being able to hold on to your cultural heritage while at the same time honoring the culture of the place that you are in.
And appreciating, seeing as your life is better, apparently, appreciating that is by the grace of the country that you're in.
Yeah.
It's sure it's not yours, and you are going to always feel like you don't belong, or this is not home. That I'm speaking as an immigrant and expat as well. So you're going to feel that way all the time, but you do need to also have an appreciation for where you're at. But that just shows the craziness of just social grouping and becoming us versus them. It doesn't matter anymore. It's not, the guy in one breath is saying my life's better here, but I still hate the people that have created this place. So the contradictions are all over the place, but they don't care. They're not going to be like, this is logically inconsistent. Let me stop hating Hallandren. They're not doing that. And Hallandren people are not being welcoming to Idrians either. So there's hatred on both sides of this coin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that Ravenna has to learn, look, people actually don't want to come home. It's not that they're trapped here as much as... So how bad is life in Idris for them that living in a slum is better?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering.
So just think about that, Ravenna. What's going on in your country?
Yeah, it would be idealistic to simply say if they could just all stop hating each other,
get along,
all the problems would be solved. But it really is so much more than that. The group continues on to the meeting place with the 3 slumlords. Paxson runs brothels, Ashu runs fighting leagues, Gesundheit, and Rira was Tames's employer. Vivenna asserts that the people don't care about their heritage, and they want to know her intentions in the city. Rira's not convinced there will be war yet, but Vivenna assures them that it is coming. She wants it to go well for Idris. One asks what that means, and I think that's a reasonable question. What does that look like? Idris in control of Hallandren, or us in a better financial position, or what?
Yeah, what are the KPIs?
Vivenna's answer to that is simply to survive, and the group kind of finds it lackluster.
Yeah, they're like, no, we want to win. Come and give us a win. War is for winning.
Yeah. One asks about titles and trade contracts. Another wants a royal marriage. Oh my.
Yeah, you got another sister. Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, first off, she's a monk. But even he says, I hear she's a monk. But if she runs out of money, she may have to make this sacrifice, even though she and Daedalin and Parlin all probably want it to be Parlin. I think she's going to be with Parlin by the end of this book. What do you think?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Yeah, she's too young. She's too young for Denth, right? So I suppose.
Yeah. I don't see Denth getting with anyone in this book, sadly. Vivenna claims this is about patriotism, but the men still want rewards. Vivenna just gets up to leave, which is great.
She's just she's really, her heart's been broken at this point, and she's just so disappointed in her people. And that, I guess that's her role as a monarch. That is what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to have the ideal in mind, and she's supposed to embody the ideal and lead.
Mm-hmm.
That is what she's supposed to do. So the fact that she is dissatisfied with the people, it's not just, oh, she's naive, she must just accept it. No, she's actually supposed to say, this is not good enough. You're not doing what I want you to do.
Yeah, but look, really, I do have tremendous admiration for Vivenna confronting these incredibly hard truths. In many ways, it's a two-way street. Like, I expect my leaders to be good leaders, and in exchange, I will be a good citizen. She's seeing the very worst, I think, right now of her countrymen.
Yeah.
But she's trying. She went to meet her people as her culture seems to dictate. They want their leaders to be accessible to them. And she does that despite great hardship, as Denth is about to say when she gets up to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the men accuses her disdain for them as being un-Idrian. And we know that Vivenna has been dealing with that on her own side with her haughtiness, but it felt like a dirty attack coming from him.
Yeah, it's like, oh, really? So she's just being too high and mighty. No, she's just got higher standards and expectations for you. She wants the best for you.
Yeah, your dictates that you not judge does not give me permission to be scum.
Yeah, exactly. So we're both at fault, supposedly, yeah, because we both have not lived up to our religion then.
Mm-hmm.
Because your religion's also, it's not just about not judging, it's actually about still, living a good life.
And as they say, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. I mean...
As Jesus said, by the way.
Yes. As far as haughtiness versus mafia goes, haughtiness seems like a pebble, whereas being in the mafia seems like a pretty big rock.
Yeah. Sorry, dude.
Sorry for judging you as an asshole. Have you tried not being an asshole? Oh, gosh. But this is the man, I think, who invokes his father, who died working in the Edgeley fields. Side note, I've never commented on it. I love the flowers of Edgeley. That's such a cool name. It invokes something very neat.
Isn't it tears? Tears of Edgeley?
Tears of Edgeley, yeah.
Why tears? Why is Edgeley crying?
I don't know. He goes on about how he pulled himself up by his bootstraps and supported Var's revolution. And Vivenna chastises him for making prostitutes of housewives. It's a really neat exchange. He defends himself, saying he makes sure everyone has enough food. I mean, there are criminals with hearts of gold, sure. When you work within a system that is prejudiced against you, it's tough. I do think there's a difference between making someone a prostitute and, like, charging an extra commission on shipping containers.
Yeah. There's different ways to feed people, but that's pretty easy doing it that way.
Yeah. But the interaction is interrupted by screams. Lifeless soldiers are raiding the slums, and they run. The lifeless attack the Idrians, and I wrote to myself, hot take, this attack will serve to move the Idrians further into Vivenna's camp. Meaning, I was getting vibes of an unsuccessful trip here, but after this attack, they'll be like, oh shit, yeah, we're gonna lock in with Vivenna.
Yeah, it could be that, or they go, oh, she betrayed us, that's why we got attacked. But then again, she got attacked herself, so that doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that is what my response to you would be. They move through the slums. In an alley, 5 lifeless attack. Tongfa drops his weapons, intending to surrender, but the lifeless attack anyway. So that's quite brutal. This whole segment is quite scary, I think.
Yeah. And like how unstoppable these guys seem. And just, surrender doesn't seem to, I don't know if that would even work with these kinds of creatures, because they've got one order. I suppose you could probably program it in and say, if surrender, then stop attacking. But I don't know how complex the orders can be with lifeless.
Sure. And it's interesting considering how much character we get out of Claude a little bit later. But one of the things that Sanderson does throughout this segment that I think lends itself to the fearful nature is she isn't able to keep track of where everyone is. She, I think, loses Tongfa briefly, who stays back to fight. She can't find Denth. Jules has disappeared, and she doesn't recognize Claude at first. So
yeah, she goes like, why is this other guy attacking the other one? Then she realizes it's Claude.
Yeah. So I think that was an effective technique of Sanderson to up the scary factor here.
Yeah. The jump cut kind of technique. Yeah.
Yeah. So Vivenna runs while Tongfa fights. Vivenna is attacked by 2 lifeless and trips. A 3rd lifeless appears. Vivenna feels nearby rope, and she begs the rope to come to life. So
before we get into that.
Okay.
So she does trip. She trips over her skirt. Now she's wearing a skirt. She trips over her skirt, so she rips it off. So she's actually in her under trousers, essentially. I think that is very, very symbolic, because we were talking about trousers not being, or pants not being modest. Yeah. And now this whole experience, before even the physical thing, has been ripping off this skirt, because she's been tripping over her skirt being her expectations of her people, all of that, and her naivety as well. So it all gets ripped off, and she is now immodestly clad. So yeah, I thought it was rather symbolic, because we got the initial discussion about skirts versus pants in the previous chapters, and now we've got this very much so. I think it's very pointed that she trips over her skirt and rips it off.
I like that. I think this is her at her most desperate in a way, certainly in the immediate. And especially coming off the ropes in that previous chapter of her being like, I would rather be lifeless than awaken. Here, her life is threatened, and she actually tries to awaken.
Yeah. She's just, that's exactly the big thing that happens here, is that she said she would rather be a drab. And now she's talking about, now she sees this rope as a way out, and she tries to awaken. Like, we don't, modesty be damned, all of this be damned, I need to get out of here.
Yeah. And I'm such a doubter. I was so prepared for Vivenna to flawlessly awaken the rope on her first time, and I was so ready to be really angry at Sanderson. I'm sorry, Sanderson. You did not do that.
Oh.
I did not give you...
I knew she wasn't going to do it right from the beginning. The one thing when she was talking about imagining it coming to life, I was like, okay, that is a step in it, but there's no reason for her to know how to awaken. It's too specific. So
yeah.
If it had worked, I would be like, oh, she's got some sort of special awakening ability. But yeah, that would, I think we would have complained about it.
Very much so. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was basically here ready to complain about it, and then it didn't happen, and I was elated.
Yes.
Turns out the 3rd lifeless was Claude, though, and he attacks the first 2. And Vivenna thinks Claude displays a sense of determination. And that is when I had the thought, oh my God, Claude is Arsteel.
Yes!
Yep, and because remember, Jules speaks to Claude and it concerns Denth and Tonk Fa. Why else would she do that?
And we've just had Denth say, with the whole Parlin thing, that she's got commitments elsewhere. She was probably with Arsteel.
I think so.
Yeah, so I think Claude is Arsteel, and they would just call him Claude because it's just like a cover. That it would be a bit too to call him Arsteel because he's no longer Arsteel. But anyway, I would like to see her reaction to him dying.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, and it's so gross when he gets the stomach wound and out comes what I assume is the ichor alcohol.
Yeah, it's basically, I don't know if it's that, but it's just clear liquid. I don't know. I suppose if they're making lifeless, that is what they do. So I suppose you're right. But the thing is, and it doesn't spurt out like he's got a beating heart, does it? No.
Yeah.
I didn't think about whether, I just thought, their blood is clear.
Gotcha. No, I assumed it was the embalming fluids.
Mm.
Vivenna thinks the lifeless attack differently than she expected, like actual soldiers, not a zombie horde. Again, there's this sort of idea of they aren't zombies. It's almost as if there is something there, some actual facsimile of life, not, I don't know.
Hence the determination. And also, it seems like Claude has exceptional skill as well. That's what I took from it, where at one stage he is fast enough that Vivenna is reminded of Denth.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Claude finishes off the last of the lifeless, and that's when Tonk Fa and Denth arrive. So, fortunately, it looks like we've all gotten out of this alive.
Except for Claude. All right.
No, he's not down for the count. I think they can still heal him. I didn't get the sense that Claude was done for permanently.
I did. I thought he's done. His eyes glaze over, I think, even, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we'll see. I don't.
He's staring forward. His hand is twitching, and he's kneeling, bowed. So he sounds to me like he's wounded and broken, but I don't think he's down for the count.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, me too. Nah, you're probably right.
How do you heal him as well?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because he's technically not alive, then you would probably need another breath or something to be heal yourself or something. I don't know. But maybe we'll have a death moment with Jules, holding him. Yeah.
Yeah. And that brings us to chapter 32, yes?
Mm-hmm.
32. Ciri wakes up alone. She's been sleeping in more and more because of her late nights with Suzebron. Ooh. She thinks fondly on the God King.
Yeah, she's crushing.
So hard.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, though, I feel like I keep saying it now every Ciri chapter, but these are my favorite chapters in the book.
Same.
Yeah. She misses her home, but loves the colors and performers in Tetelier, as Kite says.
Mm-hmm.
She reminds herself of the current dangers. She stops making excuses and sets her mind to doing something because no one else will. This is a great moment for her. I enjoyed reading this. This is the pull yourself up by your bootstraps, roll up your sleeves and say, it's time to get to work moment.
Yeah, she's like, okay, fine. I've been lamenting this whole thing of ignoring my lessons for a while, but okay, fine. I'm going to do something about this. So I enjoyed it. And you can see that after her crush thoughts or whatever, this comes about. She's determined because she wants Suzebron to continue living. She wants to protect him. She wants to figure things out.
Yes, she does. And she's got the grit and determination to do it, too.
Mm.
She's been wearing her hair long because Suzebron likes it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote, let's talk about things partners do for each other. do we really want to have this conversation?
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I don't know. I feel like if I had a girlfriend who liked a particular shirt or a beard, I would consider wearing a particular shirt or a beard for her. That doesn't seem like a terrible thing.
It's not the bad. No, like she's got a lot of help for this long hair now. So it's not as much of an inconvenience as it would be in normal life. So it's not really inconveniencing her that way. And the joy of doing something for your partner, like their happiness actually makes you so happy. So it's almost like it's not a bad thing to do certain things for your partner. I don't see anything wrong with that. But I guess some people would find that, oh, that's too much. You got to stay yourself, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I feel like folks on the outside of a relationship, oh, he doesn't let you wear this or that. And it's like, no, that feels like it's starting from an inherently antagonistic premise when I think when two people really do like each other, they enjoy doing things for each other to be attractive to each other.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
It is. He's very much Sanderson is laying on, she really does like him. She's falling for him or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. He's laying that on thick in this beginning of the chapter.
Yeah. She contemplates how to play at politics and Lightsong's advice. She wonders what she might have to trade or exchange. So the most immediate thing I think of is, you know a lot about Suzebron, and you know that you're not going to be having a baby anytime soon. That is information. But here's the thing, is if that's her only information, at what level of value is that information? When
do you let that go?
Exactly. Can you think of any other bits of information first?
She can make things up as well. She's in the position to make things up. Because she could say, oh, well, the God King this, the God King that. She can also make it doesn't have to be real information in the beginning, at least.
Yeah. So I think where I might start it is, you all told me I'm not allowed to talk to him. Well, I've been talking to him. You could probably start with, I know he likes children's stories.
That might jeopardize him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of the risk she's going to take, though.
Yeah, it's revealing the secret.
Yeah. So, but I feel like she kind of trusts Bluefingers.
Mm-hmm.
So she might be willing. I hope she digs around for info first. I hope he doesn't just walk in and then she spills everything. But we'll see. Mm-hmm. She invites her servants in, then singles out a pawn call girl. Even though the other servants can hear her, she instructs the girl to tell Bluefingers she has vital information which may cause him to alter his plans. And I wrote to myself, she knows Lightsong can send away servants. She could have done this more privately. She figures the servants will be silent. And then in double parentheses, I wrote, I doubt that. But it could work to her advantage in that it makes her seem less competent. But she doesn't have the specific thought that is her intent here.
Mm-hmm. No, I think there'll be a lot of mistakes that just happen to help her in the way that she works. She is at least, I'm okay with her at least being aware that this might be a problem. And then she says, she thinks even if they do squeal or whatever, there hasn't really been anything revealed. If anything, it just means she has information. So the fact that she has information, that just gets released. So the value of that information will instantly rise. Well, the perceived value of that information will rise. So yeah, supposedly the reason that she leans on this thing that the servants aren't going to speak is because it's part of the religion or something. But she herself is talking to Pan Carl or whatever person. That doesn't mean that there are other people. There's others that won't go against the religion in that room. So yeah, I'm not mad at her for not sending the others away, because maybe I don't think it would be that as out of the ordinary as literally giving a message. But yeah, I'm proud of her for being aware. She knows, like, oh, this could be a problem.
Could you imagine the gossip paranoia train that could happen from this with her not having any information? So she meets with Blue Fingers and she says, hey, I finally got you to meet with me. That's great. I don't actually have anything to share. And then Blue Fingers goes and someone asks him, hey, Blue Fingers, what was that bit of gossip or politicking that she had? And he's like, nothing. There's nothing. And then that person's like, I don't believe you. Why are you keeping a secret from me?
Yeah, and everybody just inserts the worst case scenario, and I can see that happening. And what I'm expecting would be for that to eventually work out for her.
Right. Okay. I like it.
Or turn into a huge disaster for her that then eventually turns out fun.
Suddenly she will have a reputation as like the number one politician in the city with all the power and everyone's secrets just because she didn't know what to say in this one meeting. No, I don't actually expect that, but it's fun to imagine.
Yes, indeed it is.
So she has to figure out what information to give Blue Fingers. Cut to Siri visits with Lightsong and he greets her enthusiastically.
He even gives her a hug.
Yeah, it's kind of adorable.
Can you imagine? He would have to like bend down to hug her.
Yeah. Siri asks why he is called Lightsong the Bold, and he flippantly explains spending time with other returned requires true courage.
Okay.
Yeah, we've said it in past things. I don't love the flippancy. When it has a purpose, it's great. When it's clever, it's great. When it's annoying, it's annoying.
That's a great summary.
He continues to speak flippantly, but eventually he explains that it has to do with how men die and return. Lightsong has brought in a storyteller, Hoyd. Just
before that, though, there is a great jab that she gets in. Because they're talking about, he's trying to figure out who he was before. Siri finds out that the gods don't actually remember who they were before they returned. So she says, oh, you don't know about it. And he, I think, says how he's trying to figure it out, or he's wondering. And she wonders. She says, oh, you were probably a salesman or a diplomat, because it seems like you would be doing something. You would have a job that makes you say so much. Use many words and say nothing. It was a really good jab. I enjoyed it. It was like, that is exactly what he does. That's when, especially straight after he did an annoying flippancy, that came as such a great, I was like, yes, Siri, what a girl.
Yeah, it's fun to see Siri do the banter, if nothing else. And it seems as if she's the only one that likes bantering with him in this way.
She does roll her eyes at him, which is great.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what I would do.
Yep. So then we get the line, Siri continued to eat the grape slices, and I wrote out in all caps, who eats sliced grapes?
Gods do.
But like, he's a giant, and grapes are tiny.
Yeah, but it's just part of the excess. I think they even peel them.
I can get peeling grapes. I cannot get slicing them. You're going to cut out all of the fiber juice? In. I'm not saying I peel my grapes. I'm saying I can get peeling grapes. What I can't get is slicing them. Cutting out all the juice.
No, I just want grapes.
Yeah, I do too. And we get Hoyd. So I think we both knew we would get some Hoyd in this book.
I didn't. I expect Hoyd, but I don't know I didn't know he was going to be named Hoyd. I always expect there's going to be a character, because I don't know about the Cosmere, right? So I always expect at some point there's going to be someone that's going to make me think of Hoyd, and that's it. That's the expectation I go with in any Cosmere novel. And now, we just had actual Hoyd. So I'm like, okay, well, thanks for telling us who he is. That's great.
Yeah. It's interesting to note that he is a storyteller here, which is not wholly dissimilar from his interaction with Kaladin. Mm-hmm. It is different from him in Elantris, and it is different from him in Mistborn.
But he is somewhat of a bard, so it's just I suppose the most out of place is the Mistborn and the Elantris.
Yeah. Ciri asks Hoyd to tell her about the days before the division between Idris and Hallandren. So Ciri is smart enough to be like, I can't just come out and ask for what I want. I have to build to it, which is great of her.
Good girl.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hoyd tells his story while doing entertaining tricks with handfuls of sand. So that all seems fun and flavorful and entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Sand, petals, earth, grass. Like, it's just an interesting method of storytelling.
Yes. Ciri states she wants to know the origins of the Hallandren God Kings. Hoyd claims the first God King is ancient. He brings up mountains and valleys where panthers make their homes. So I bet Lightsong perked up at that.
Yeah, because he was just talking about, what's the name? He was actually talking about insulting a panther, and that's why. Sorry, that's why I perked up at it, because I was like, we were just talking about panthers. Because he said he was bold because he insulted a panther, and that's how he died.
Excellent catch. Chedesh dominated the world and discovered this land. They called this land Paradise, a land of color because of the tears of Edgley.
Mm-hmm.
So very mythological.
Yeah. Origin story, mythological.
Indeed. Origin story. And it really, like I said earlier, just there's something about the way Sanderson writes about the tears of Edgley that grant a sort of flavor to this story that I'm really into.
Mm-hmm. There's more to them, I think.
Yeah. Hoyd claims this is when the first returned came into existence aboard a ship. His name was Vo. He stated the 5 visions, then died.
So it seems like the Tears of Edgley is... So I don't know if this returned stuff happened before they found the flowers, or just from being near the flowers, you can become returned, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as the dye gets exported, then the proximity to the flowers spreads around the world through the dye. And that is why returned can be found all over the world now.
I absolutely love that. Continue.
Yeah. I don't know. Then we have to think about there's returned in Idris. So I'm wondering, where would they have the dye in their homes? Because they're very bland people. But that's my theory, is that it's got to do with the flowers. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, there is something very otherworldly, I think, about this land and the Tears of Edgley. And I do wonder a small bit if there's a connection between the flowers and Atium and the strange pool in Elantris.
Yeah, magical things. Magical connection.
Strange magical conduits or connections to maybe, I don't know, the ruins and preservations of the universe. Uncertain.
Mm-hmm.
The men on that ship built a kingdom called Hanald. Ponkal lived in that land prior to the kingdoms of Hanald. So that illuminates Bluefingers's comment earlier when Ciri was like, but you're Ponkal, you're basically Hallandren. And he's like, yeah, it's kind of different.
Yeah, it's not the same at all.
Not particularly. Maybe after a long enough time, but apparently not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Hoyd mentions the rumor that Kalad's army still exists, which again strikes me as a Chekhov's army.
Mm-hmm. It's going to become relevant. And is it the statue army?
I'm so enamored with this idea that it's the statue army now, ever since you said it. It's so great. He claims a returned predicted the many war, and that prompted Strife Lover, otherwise known as Kalad the Usurper, to attack neighboring kingdoms. At this point, I wrote to myself, did we know Kalad was returned? I don't think we did.
Yeah, I don't remember it, but I cannot be relied upon to remember things. So if you didn't remember, then it was not there.
If you say so. But also the name Strife Lover seems to have a slightly more negative connotation. And there's than Light Song or Mercy Star and so on. And so I wonder if the name may have been given posthumously because of his role as a villain.
Yeah, like what? But then again, because you're supposed to get your name as a returned by the way you die. But then I suppose if you die and you die in a matter of strife, I suppose, in a strife situation, you can still be Strife Lover. Maybe he got into a bar fight and that's how he became. Yeah, so I don't know. It's either the naming's wonky because I could understand literally like it happening. He was Strife Lover in that he died in a strife situation and that's it. And then he went forward with that and became Kalad. Why does he have two names? That's another thing.
I want to know.
So I guess you could say we've got Light Song the Bold. Yeah, no, it's supposed to be like Strife Lover, the lover of strife. Yeah.
The kingdom of Hanold chose their first queen and used the tears of Edgley to become rich from their dye.
Something just occurred to me. So we've got Light Song the Bold. That's just his name. But then we've got why is his name like that? We've got the other ones that have like Blush Weaver. She weaves blushes. Okay. We've got Hope Giver, right?
Hope Finder.
Giver of hope. So Hope Finder. So Hope Finder, did he find hope? Like why are these names more active than Light Song's name? Is there some level at which your name changes as a god? Like what was it like you've got Kalad and then Kalad the drunk, okay? And then he goes and starts war and then becomes Strife Lover. I'm wondering if there's a progression of these names. The names are confusing me because why is Light Song so different then? Are they Mercy Star?
Right, because it's not life. It's not Light Singer.
Yeah, exactly. It's not Mercy Giver. It's Mercy Star. So are they at like some sort of? They haven't done like maybe you have to do a certain prophecy or something, and then you get a different name. Or maybe I'm reading too much into this, and I should just pipe down.
I mean, maybe that, but don't pipe down. I love it.
When I have a theory, I'm very excited.
Yeah. And I get excited when you have a theory.
Good. Continue.
Some say the many war was about dye. Light Song asks what others say the many war was about, and Hoyd says breath. Awakening was relatively new and misunderstood leading up to the many war in the days of the 5 scholars. New commands were discovered. It's neat to know. This is where you really do get this scientific element at play here, whereas before it was like, okay, this is the magic system, this is how it works, and you kind of take it for granted. This idea of breath science, I mean, I guess it had a sort of sciencey note to it going back to the prologue with the way it was talked about iridescent tones and biochromatic aura and what have you, but I didn't know that you could do experiments and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's nice. Well, nice. It's a good thing to have sciencey sort of things going on with the magic system because that's actually how a magic system is developed. A lot of the time when we are introduced to a magic system, it's already established and all the knowledge is lost to time. But they're a little bit closer, and it's like, okay, well, we know that there were people that figured this stuff out. So, science.
Science! Ciri thinks Hoyd is slanting things for Ciri's Idrian sensibilities, and that's kind of a theme that will recur in the rest of the chapter of everyone's got an opinion on what actually happened.
Yeah.
It is weird, though, that the one that Hoyd seems to take as more true than the others is the anti-Idrian one. Although, to be fair, I'd be a bit more scared of Lightsong than Ciri if I were called to Lightsong's place to tell a story.
Yeah. Who shall we offend? The human queen or the god?
One scholar discovered how to create lifeless with one breath, which is a big deal.
Versus 50?
Yes, versus 50. Hoyd claims the kingdoms started from servants of a returned, and I wrote to myself, wait, but if Vo was the first returned, were the shipmates really his servants? Was there a formal servant-type situation here going on? Was this the start of the religion? Did they start worshipping him?
Well, that's the thing. He the first returned, revealed the 5 visions, and then died. He didn't live.
Yeah, and then it's weird because then they picked their...
He didn't take breaths.
And then these shipmates picked their queen. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, they picked the queen who was just the wife of this returned. So just by virtue of him having returned, he didn't have to continue living. Just the fact that he returned, he came back from the dead, that made him a god. And he had these 5 visions, which would make sense because, which also, that's related to Auster. But, okay, so the origins are mingled in the beginning. But then he goes off and just dies. He doesn't use breath anymore. But he had impregnated his wife, and then that child was the next returned.
Was it, though? Because I thought this line eventually comes down to Ciri, and she's not returned.
No, yeah, she's not returned. I don't know whether that was a stillborn baby or just a normal person that then returned. I'm not too sure. I've lost it now. But I just know that the queen, that's how it went from Vo. It actually wasn't that they were returned. So I don't know. Where does this hair stuff come in?
I don't know. I had an interesting imaginative thought. Do you think they can change their hair color because they ate the tears of Edgley?
I'm sure many more people have eaten the tears eventually.
Yeah, probably. Never mind then. The 5 scholars joined different sides in the war, and Hoyd claims the reason for the war was the ability to make cheap lifeless. All of this seems like reasonable how a war starts type thing.
Yeah.
He talks about the advantages of soldiers who don't need to eat, among other benefits. Kalad even made a new and more powerful but mysterious and unremembered lifeless. It makes me think about the sword a little bit. Ciri then claims the royal family broke off from Kalad because the lifeless are immoral. Hoyd hesitates, then says, yes? And Lightsong tells Ciri Hoyd is lying to her. So I do like that Lightsong points that out, not that she didn't get that. But... yeah,
but... So she wants to hear the other versions as well.
Yeah. And then this is our first introduction into the idea that maybe Idris is the bad guy.
I was just going to say that we have, in this whole exchange, we actually do have Ciri not really caring too much about Idris, Auster versus other gods.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have this huge problem with awakening and breath and all of that. She just didn't listen to her monks. So she's okay. She doesn't have as much of a problem as Ravenna has with awakening, etc. She was scared of awakeners, but that's it. She's not morally against it.
It's fine. She's reform. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, that does bring in an interesting thing. My own Jewish heritage and comparisons to Idris. Golems are a part of Jewish mythology. And here we have lifeless, and we were talking about statues. That's interesting.
Yeah. Origins.
Hoyd proceeds to say none of the other stories agree. The Ponkal claim the royal family worked to gain lifeless and awakeners, but then those creations turned against them. Hallandren claims the royal family aligned with Kalad, and I wrote in parentheses, I don't know which of these is true, if any of them, nor if we will find out, but it's interesting that they do all seem to directly contradict each other. Lifeless seem anathema to Idris. So it puts me in this weird space where it's like I'm more inclined to trust Siri when she says the Idris version because it seems like such a core tenet of their culture as it is today. But I'm more inclined almost to trust Hoyd because we know he knows Cosmere things and is incentivized to, well, we don't know, but I presume he's working for generally good ends. I hope.
Is there a wonky way that all of them are true? Because it also occurs to me that the Idris version, it actually might be the reason that they now have such a view of lifeless. So it's like that was the propaganda, and now it's just become common knowledge and culture that actually, yes, we're against lifeless. So like the nature of...
Right, it cost us our seat in Hallandren, therefore we hate them, and we will erase this part of our history.
Yeah, not even... Yeah, we don't know if that's the exact method behind it, but
sure,
yeah, there would be some sort of story that's put together that this is what we'll tell the people, and then that becomes the truth. So it seems like I'm wondering if there's a wonky way that all of them could be true at the same time, because there was a faction of Idris that was with Kalad, and there was a faction that wasn't, and gray areas could make this all be true in some way.
Right. I think it's probable, if not possible.
It's a mix. Yeah.
Hoyd claims it doesn't matter which is true. The Returned took control of Hallandren, which I think there's some manner of truth, in what Hoyd says there. We get the line, and yet some still speak regretfully of the royals who left, bearing the blood of the first return to their highlands. And I wrote in parentheses, so Siri has the blood of Vo? Must have been a busy week for Vo. What does this have to do with the hair color changing ability?
Exactly.
Yeah. Siri is shocked by this revelation and claims that if it's known, they don't speak of it. I don't know, do you think Dedalin knows? I bet he doesn't.
Knows that they are actually returned, blood of returned? Yeah, I don't know.
How many generations back was the Many War?
Was it 50 years? So I don't know how many.
So he might.
Yeah, he might have been alive in the Many War.
Yeah. The priests in the distance discuss increasing patrols in the slums, and that seems very much to invoke what happened in the last chapter. Very concerning.
Yeah, we've already had a bad raid. Now we're going to have more.
Yep. It is a nice way, I think, of Sanderson weaving in the outside world into the palace for Siri. So that's neat. Siri brings up the God Kings of Hallandren, therefore do not have Vo's blood. Yeah, that's what the whole wedding's about.
Yeah.
There have been 5 God Kings in 300 years. The first God King received breath from Peacegiver, and each child since then fathered a stillborn who took the father's place. Big if true.
Yeah, but how did those breaths transfer all the way down? That's the main mystery, and we still don't have that answer. Thanks, Hoyd.
Yep, and did Peacegiver know what would come or not? And did each of them have their tongue cut out, or is Suzabron the first?
Yeah, I mean, I would think it's like maybe...
I think at least 2.
The third one? Yeah, at least two, yeah.
Siri asks how Peacegiver created a new God King, And Hoyd claims the answer is lost, but legends claim he died giving breath to his successor. And that sets the tone for God Kings die when they have a successor, I think.
Yeah. And we already know that if you give your breath, you don't die. So what? This dying breath maybe is something where you give absolutely everything, you die? Or is it really that they fade and it actually just transfers automatically?
Right. Yeah. That maybe there's something about the geneticness of it that it just kind of naturally occurs to one's heir. Lifesong thinks even if a god gives away his breath, it doesn't make the recipient divine, which is interesting.
Yeah, so those petitioners, if they get the God King's breath, they just bring something back to life, but they don't become divine.
Yeah.
They just die. The god just dies.
Yes, and it doesn't make the breath receiver a return. Hoyd claims Peacegiver sent away Kalad's phantoms. I wrote, oh, do the gods die to prevent Kalad's lifeless from returning? The God Kings? Maybe?
I don't know. Yeah, we don't know. And the fact that we call them the phantoms, that also makes me go, Like, I know the idea of phantom and ghost and whatever, that kind of, it's just invoking the mystery. But I do wonder if they're something completely different as well, if they're actually like spirits or something.
Yeah.
When you use the word phantom.
Yeah. Hoyd wonders if Peacegiver truly did something unique which allowed the God Kings to pass their divinity on. Maybe. I rule it.
We still don't know.
Ciri thinks that would make the Idrian royal family the only one with a better claim to rule. And I put in parentheses, is this supposed to be a revelation? They already ruled before the current dynasty anyway.
No, it's a revelation for her.
I guess.
Yeah, she's really understanding the true gravity of why they want the royal blood and why Idris is a threat to Talia.
Sure. Ciri asks for confirmation of their immortality, and Hoyd confirms it. Agelessness is a gift for all who reach the fifth heightening. And I wrote in parentheses, wait, what? But that sounds like that's for all, not just the God Kings. And Lemix had the fifth heightening, and he aged, didn't he?
I don't know if he had the fifth heightening, no.
I'm pretty sure he did, because that's where Vivenna is now, isn't she?
I don't know. Maybe. But he might have only gotten his breath when he was old.
That's true, too.
So you would just stop aging, and he didn't die of old age, he died of sickness. But then, he's not returned, so he can get sick.
Yeah. Ciri asks why the first God King died. Hoyd claims he became tired. God Kings only live as long as it takes to have an heir, and Ciri is surprised that's not a secret.
Oopsie, she was like, this is known? Like, oh, damn. So she didn't have a perfect performance in this chapter, which is good. You know, you don't want her being suddenly politically genius.
I mean, to be frank and fair, I was surprised that it's known. I mean, Suzebron didn't seem to know or act as if he knew.
You don't know. I'm saying the fact that she lets it slip that she's surprised. That shouldn't be something that she's allowed to be surprised. It's just she's not supposed to. She goes, oopsie. I wasn't supposed to let them know that I'm surprised. I should have been a bit more tactful about it.
Sure. Hoyd claims after the heir is born, the God King becomes restless and seeks to use their breath to benefit the realm. I wrote, in parentheses, if Hoyd is lying here, it's because whatever secret Ciri is after, it's not connected to the heir topic? ?
So whatever... So read that again?
If Hoyd is lying here, I mean, first off, it sounds like he's towing the propaganda line here. But if Hoyd is lying, it's because whatever secret Ciri is after, it's not connected to Suzebron and her having a child. The God King's death is not connected to getting an heir, is what I'm saying, if Hoyt is lying.
And so in reality, it's not connected, but the priests maybe do something that make it connected.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's deeper than just the heir situation.
Mm-hmm.
Ciri asks how he learned to tell stories as he does, and Hoyt claims he learned from someone who didn't know who he was. I thought returned, which would be kind of cute. Mm-hmm. But then he goes on to say, a distant place where two lands meet and gods have died.
It could be anywhere. We do have a place where God is dead.
Yep.
We do have that. But, I mean, it could be this one. Could be this place because gods die here too.
Yeah.
And we have the person who doesn't remember who he was.
Yeah. Yep. Hoyt is too mysterious.
But Ciri's like, okay, he's just being dramatic. He did come from here. Maybe.
Yeah. So Ciri thinks the official explanation makes sense, but she doesn't know how the God Kings pass on breath without tongues, nor how someone with Susebron's vigor for life would get tired of it. Which is true, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't make that much sense. It's just all that's happened here is the correlation between heir and God King dying has been confirmed.
Yeah, and look,
she's just been given a silly reason.
Yeah, but look, they say that when you have a child, your life becomes dedicated to that child. Or like that child's life matters more than your own. And like, yes, I imagine then that I would be willing to die for my child. But I imagine if I had a child, even if I was depressed, it is more important that that child have me in his life than anything else.
Yeah. You're not going to end your life. It's better to, obviously you would end your life if it would save your child, but that doesn't seem to be what's going on here.
Yeah. Lightsong wonders if it would be best for Ciri if Susebron passed. She might be able to go home. I don't think so. I do not think. I mean, maybe, but highly unlikely. Ciri thinks happy or dead. She thanks Hoyt, then leaves.
Yeah, and she's crying when she leaves because she's either Susebron's going to stop liking her and not want to live, and then she loses him, or it's Susebron's going to die anyway, and that's why she's crying. So either way, it's not a nice moment for her. Poor Ciri.
Yeah.
She's just started to like him.
Yep.
And she thinks of him as it's her husband.
Yep. She's crushing hard. It's new love.
New love with her husband. But yes, it is her husband, guys. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Well, it's been quite a bit. It was a good chunk. So, look, recording these large chunks takes a disproportionately large amount of time in comparison to the Way of Kings format and what we're doing for Hero of Ages now. So Kita and I have to figure out a way to make it more time friendly. Yes, thank you. So next week's episode might be different. I'm not sure how it will be different yet. We're going to go have that discussion. But yeah, this right here, great chunk.
As usual. We love Ciri.
Very much so. Best character. Maybe top tier Sanderson character, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to That Darn Kita if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel.
Subscribe to this channel, because you know it's great.
It would be greatly appreciated. We also have a Discord where I post memes and various other things. And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah, thanks, bye.